Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So I'm so excited to be bringing you my first ever version of doing a ranking of all the palettes that I have tried throughout this entire year, like, so far. So I'm definitely possibly might be doing like a part 2, 3, something in the future, just to kind of rank everything, give you my thoughts, if I fully recommend, kind of idea. Also, just, you know, I think it's fun, and I think it's a creative idea. So that's what I wanted to do it. First things first, if you are curious about this eye look, it will be up on Sunday. I did use the Glamlite Hershey's Kisses palette, so gorgeous. If you have not seen my series, what I'm doing now for my shorts is I'm bringing back my old series of playing with old makeup, where I basically pull out stuff from my collection, 2 palettes a week, and create looks. I think I've now done like 2 or 3 weeks of doing that. And then something for me, a little bit of a challenge, is I'm creating a look that I would normally not create. So with this palette, sorry, no, I'm off topic, but I tend to would gravitate towards those like bluey gray shades. So I wanted to do something kind of more along the neutral side. So definitely subscribe for that, or just stay tuned if you want to see that. I am loving to play with my old makeup. I think it is so important, especially in this environment that we are in, to continue to play with the stuff that we already have in our collection. I just think it is the best. Anyways, yeah, let me go ahead, get on started. And then how I'm going to be ranking these is starting from my least favorite to most favorite. There will probably be palettes in here that are ranked lower, and I'm gonna say it's not necessarily because they're bad. Like, I will explain as we go. I know that we might have different opinions, you know, each their own. I'm gonna say none of these palettes except for one that I absolutely do not like. Every single other palette that I will be showing you, like you have seen, you can go back to my channel, I have done looks with. I absolutely love them. I think it's just the palettes that when I think about what do I personally want to play with, like based off of like what I like, that's just kind of how that works. So let's go ahead and start off with, so this is the one that I do not recommend. So this was featured in our Ice Cream Beauty box. I forget what month. I think it was like March. Base Blue sent us this, which I think this is still such a really cool idea. They've only done one still, so check out that video if you want to see kind of more thoughts. They do have thoughts about it. Bigger things in my opinion that I do not like about this palette is that a lot of the shades are overspray, which is kind of a bummer, and the rest of the shades are shimmer shades, and if you want to use some of them, you are going to be destroying the palette, which, I mean, you do you, but I do feel like this is meant to be kind of like an artwork piece. It does bum me out a lot that they have not made additional palettes, because they might still have up on their page. I think actually when I tried to go on their website because I wanted to see, my computer like flagged as if it was like a virus. So I don't know what's going on with there. I hope they're okay. But that's just my least favorite, just because I don't really feel like you can create a look with it, at least in my opinion. So up next is going to be the Bunny Love palette. This is by Sugar Drizzle Polish. So this is another palette that we did get in our Ice Cream Beauty box. Okay, I hope that's better. I tried to adjust the lighting, so sorry if I look a little bit darker. But now you can see the color story. So again, I do not dislike this palette. The shimmers are not the strongest, which is just a personal preference. And then I also feel like the color story is just a little difficult for me. I was able to create a look that I did really, really, really love, but just with having like the green, the yellow, like it's just a lot of like mismatch to me. The blushes in this, though, are really good. And also, I feel like the price point of this being $40 is just a little high for me, in my opinion, for what you get. I feel like there's brands out there giving us a lot better. We'll be mentioning them in a second for what you could get. So, I don't know, it's a bit of a bummer, especially I will say with Sugar Drizzle Polish. If you do not know, I have a favorite palette from them that I think I did mention it in, like, my favorites palette, so definitely check that out. They did have one, I forgot what it was, but it was like a Halloween palette. That one was so good. The formula was so good. It lacked mattes in my opinion, so it wasn't my favorite, but the shimmers were so good, and I'm like, I wish they could get back to that. Again, I have no idea. I don't know what's going on with the brand, but that's my 2 cents with that one. Alright, next up, featuring the Moira Like a Melody palette. Look at this gorgeous color story. So this is another one that was featured in our Ice Cream Beauty box. You are going to see that a lot of these palettes are from the Ice Cream Beauty box. Main reason is Ice Cream Beauty box, if you do not know, they do send you a full eyeshadow palette every single month for $30. and like a whole bunch of other stuff. So such a great deal. But anyways, so that is why I have a lot from them, which I actually love because I'm able to try out a lot more indie brands that I would not normally be able to because you do get such like a good deal. Anyways, why is this one kind of lower? I think just kind of similar to the other one, the shimmers in this are just not the best. They're not the most blingy, shiny like I like. It is above though that other one because I think this color story is a lot more cohesive and easier to work with, and that is something I do like. I would 100% reach for this palette again. I think it is gorgeous. The mask performed really well. The shimmers were fine. Again, if you like a more subtle shimmer, then you would absolutely love this. I highly recommend, and I really do actually want to try out more from Moira Cosmetics in the future. I don't know where I want to rank this one now that I think about it. Next up is Mandy Makeup Mint City palette. So this palette is still so pretty. I guess let's just say why it is here. So first up, it did not have enough depth for what I tend to like. It only did have one shade, which, you know, just is not my preference. It does have some nice shimmers. I feel like some of the other shimmers were a little hard for me to work with, but it does have a variety of formulas, which is nice. One thing as well that I don't absolutely love, was able to make it work, so check out my video if you are curious. It does have a pressed glitter. A lot of people, including myself, just don't tend to love pressed glitters. I was a little bummed, honestly, when I found out this was a pressed glitter, but that's okay. This shade in here, Mint City, is so gorgeous. It is like the absolute best shade. So in my honest opinion, if they were able to get their shimmer formula to here, granted, I feel like that might up the price of the palettes, but I, as a consumer, like, I feel like I'd rather pay a little bit more knowing that I'm gonna have some really good shimmers. Again, these two shimmers here also are really good. Sorry, it's like hard to see. The other ones just aren't my favorite. And then also this color story to me gives, and this is just a personal preference, it kind of just gives like a bunch of different colors. So I don't hate it. Like, I was able to create several looks, so check out my video if you are curious. It's just, it's not a favorite. I don't find myself reaching for it. Now, I will say the brand does have other palettes that I have seen that I really want to check out. So I think Mint City Mini Makeup is such an awesome indie brand. And also, if you're not following them on Instagram, definitely check them out. I love everything that they stand for. Well, almost everything. I can't say 100% for sure, but they are very, you know, standing up for people's rights and all of that. And I just really appreciate a brand that is really big on that. So they are amazing. Okay, so these next couple of palettes are going to be ranked. They're great quality. That's what I'm gonna say. They are great quality, but they are either gonna be missing, like, they don't have the variety that I like, I would say. So I tend to, with my shadows, prefer a deep, a mid, and a light shade, and then some sort of a shimmer shade. That is just like my perfectness, and a lot of these just don't have that. So at least for me, I find like I need to combine something to make it work how I prefer. So at first, we're gonna go and start off with the Clarity Cosmetics Stained Glass palette. Now, it's so funny, before we were sent this one, this came in their ice cream beauty box, I was tempted to pick this up because the swatches of this are gorgeous. Like, this shade, perfect light shade. The only bummer to me is our mattes are these two shades here. So at least for me, I don't tend to do an all over, you know, one color with a shimmer or something. If you want that, then this palette has that. And this formula is so freaking good. So I would definitely check them out. I want to check more out from Clarity Cosmetics in the future. Like I said, none of these next ones have anything to do with the formula. It just might be the color story that I'm just not in love with. But yeah, these shimmers are out of this world, so freaking good. So next up, we have the Monk palette from Fantasy Cosmetica. Again, kind of same thing like I said a second ago. I originally purchased this palette, which I don't regret purchasing it, but I wanted some brightness, and I love that it has that. It definitely gives some brightness. I just don't find myself reaching for it. I would say some of these shades are definitely not, you know, my favorite, some of the shimmer shades, but their formula is so good. So I think that if this does speak to you, I would definitely check it out or check out their other stuff. I think a lot of times this what's hard is I love Fantasy Cosmetica, but just their color stories just aren't necessarily what I would love sometimes, which is completely okay. Obviously, we all have different opinions. So that's why this one is here. I feel like I will reach for this if I want a bright, summery vibe, 100% for sure. And again, like I said, their shimmer formula, super good. Up next, we'll be featuring the Poppy and Fluff Indigo Dreams palette. Such a gorgeous color story. I really do love the fact that this does have a black, so that's great. I was able to create several looks that I do love. The shimmers, all of the shimmers in this palette are good, which is something I absolutely love from brands. I would say the mattes also perform pretty well. I think this one green shade here, I wanted to be a bit more pigmented. Probably wasn't like my favorite, but all in all, I do like this. I think, again, kind of when I talk about my ideal kind of color story, I find that I just have to pull other things in, but I still think this is such a gorgeous color story. And if you have this palette or have been tempted by this palette, check out the creator. I believe her name is Steph. I'll try to have her link. She has done so many looks with this palette, and it's gorgeous. Such a freaking gorgeous palette. So I would definitely check out the creator if you are curious for some more ideas about this. I think it's a really gorgeous palette. I absolutely love it, but it's just not super top tier. Okay, next two, I'm just going to put these both together. So these are collaboration palettes between Ice Cream Beauty Box and Ladybug Glow. Both of these are absolutely gorgeous color stories. This one probably is my more favorite one. This is the Just Dessert. But we also have here Vampy Treat. So with me, my big struggle with these, again, and I feel like I just must be so boring sometimes with my colors, is I want it to be, so if it's a blue, like I want a blue. I want like a dark blue. I want a mid-tone blue and light blue. Like I feel like I'm very monochromatic. Or with certain ones, like again, I think I could make this work, like this dark purple, this kind of reddish shade and this pink, but I almost wish this was a bit lighter. Like, I don't know if anybody else can agree with me on that. I just, for me, and also in terms of like, blending purposes, that is just like my absolute ideal. Again, I think these are really, really good quality. The shimmers in here are super, super good. I really do like them, and the mattes perform also really great. So if you're on the fence of trying either of these out, I highly recommend them. Alright, next up is Grackle Chat by Titanium Foxes. Here is our gorgeous color story. And this one kills my soul that I have to put it just not as like top tier as some of the other ones that I love. But again, things I had talked about when I had reviewed this palette, I just don't feel like it has a lot of light shades or any that are not shimmer shades. Again, there are so many different looks that you can do with this, but I feel like just what I tend to prefer, I like having lighter shades with my color story. So I personally could find it a bit of a struggle, so I would definitely pull something in, which I'll actually show you in a second. I have another palette that I think would go so well with this one and create so many looks that I'm actually thinking of doing that to create like a gorgeous color story. But I would say if you are on the fence of Titanium Foxes, the formula is so freaking good. A lot of the shimmers in here are really good. The only shimmer that's probably not my favorite would be the shade here, which is just a standard shimmer, so it is not bad at all. It's just not as blinky as some of the other shades in here, but I think that this is still a really good color story, just not like my perfect color story. Speaking of that, let's go ahead and jump into, so this is actually a new review. So this is the Mantra One palette from Beauty Moon Cosmetics. Such a gorgeous color story. And I'm just gonna say real quick before I keep talking, let's just like hold these babies up together and like tell me that I could not create what I needed. This has the depth that I want. This has the brightness I want. And like, hello? And the shimmers in this are so good. I think that Beauty Moon Cosmetics is such a great brand. They have such a good formula. I love where they are headed. I just love them. I think they're so great. Alright, up next, this baby. Is it because it's witch themed? I mean, I'm not gonna pretend that that does not give it like 12 points extra or something, because it kind of does. The cover art is so good. The only thing I'm not 100% in love with is I don't tend to like these kind of lids, but it's fine. I have gotten over it. There's just something about this formula that like, it's so good. It's so good. And for the price point, I think this was like under $30. So good. C Beauty brand. This is like top right now. Well, not the top, but pretty close. I do wish that it had some shimmers. I want to try this brand out more. I hope I'm able to, because again, it's a C Beauty brand, and with our current country and high tariffs and not everybody, our unfortunate president trying to ruin the freaking world, country, whatever, it's just horrible. But I'm getting off topic. I love this palette. It is so top tier. If it had shimmers, it'd be even more top tier. But again, like I said, because it's witches, it's even higher. Check out my video if you have not seen. And I already probably said about every single palette that I have featured so far, I have mentioned in a video. I believe they each have their own individual video, or they have been in the Ice Cream Beauty Box, or I've done a short. So if you're curious about looks, they will be all around my channel. I have played a lot with these palettes. Alright, up next we have from Singe Beauty, Galactic Visitor. This is so pretty. So pretty. So pretty. Great formula. Lovely color story. Now, my only small, teensy, wincy, I know, horrible thing, and I probably do this a lot with palettes, but I find that when I want to play with this palette, there's two directions I'm going. Generally. So I'm either going reds and browns maybe, or like blues. Like I feel like I'm doing this or this, which is fine. Again, I really want to work on stepping outside my comfort zone. I tend to just kind of do the same with this palette. One thing I'd find so interesting that the brand creator, if you don't know, Angelica Nyqvist is the brand creator, owner of this brand. But there are different formulas in the shimmers, but they're all still really good and blingy, which for me as a shimmer lover, I want my shimmers to be blingy. So yes, I will also be picking up her newest palette whenever they release it. I am very excited for that one. Alright, coming in with a drugstore favorite, which is fabulous, is the Casper X Hot Stuff in collaboration with Profusion. Really bulky packaging though, so it's not my favorite, but I forget how much this palette was. I think it was in the $20-ish range. The shimmers in this are so good. The shade, especially with the flame, which I'm scared to ruin because it is an overspray, but the shade is so good, so the shimmers are great. I appreciate again that it has my favorite, so it has a couple of deep shades, some mid-tone shades, quite a bit of light shades, which is great, so it makes it really easy. I feel like I created like so many looks. I wanted to keep playing with this, and that's for me like the sign that you know this is a solid palette. So highly recommend that one. Coming in, this will probably be no surprise because this is currently probably one of my absolute favorite brands, if not my favorite brand. We're coming in with Gourmand Girls. So I do have the Bitten palette is my second to the top, and I just, again, the reason I'm really featuring this one is this just has such a stable formula for one, and it has what I want. It has a depth, like I would say, of every palette of theirs, there's always at least 3 deep shades, great. 3 mid shades, great. 3 light-ish shades, also great. They have really great shimmers. They have a variation of shimmers. I love that. Now, the only reason that this one is a little lower than the one I'm going to show you in a second is because this color story is so very, not quite one note, but kind of one note. You're more than likely, like, most of your looks will kind of look similar, which again, is not horrible. If you're a purple lover, hello, this is for you. Robert Welch, I don't think he has this palette. You need this palette. Purple? Not that everyone watches, but purple is really great, this palette's really great if you love purple. Okay, speaking of which, moving on to the top, which I'm sure you already know is, and this is actually their newest palette, which is crazy. This is the Call of the Sirens palette from Gourmand Girls. The reason that this one is above Bitten, again, is because you are able to do so many different looks with this, and I love it. Again, as per mentioned, it has several deep shades, and I love that. It has a lot of great shimmer shades. You know what's kind of funny? This is gonna sound horrible. I love this one. I feel like I almost want to put this one a teeny bit above, which is kind of crazy. I think the only thing I would say is looking at this palette, it doesn't have as light as shades as I always want. It does have this one, which is great, and this one kind of is light. It doesn't go quite as light as I personally prefer, but I think this is such a solid palette. So I guess technically we're kind of changing things around. This might be the top one. This might be the top because I feel like it has everything that I need, but I would definitely combine a lot of these palettes to create a lot of different looks. And that is it. I would love to know down below what you all thought of this video. I do hope that it was fun just to kind of see what I thought of everything, and I apologize if I rambled a little bit too much, but I love to talk about makeup and talk about just, I don't know, everything. I think it is super fun, so definitely let me know it down below. Let me know down below what you have tried, if you have any rankings or whatever. I think it is just super fun to hear from you and chat with you and all that fun stuff. So yeah, I hope you're having a great rest of your day. Make sure to subscribe if you want to join me on this fun channel. I would absolutely love to have you here. Have yourself a great rest of your day, and I will see you on my next one. Okay, bye.